How much should you spend on rent for your Airbnb arbitrage? I get asked this question all the time by people who watch our content and people who join our community. And my answer is, it depends. But there is a simple rule I go by. You want to spend as much money as you can on rent profitably without killing your cash flow or your margins and making the deal way too tight. So too many people think cheap is safer, but the reality is cheaper often means much tighter margins. So the sweet spot of the rent is somewhere that leaves you with a monthly profit target that factors in utilities, cleaning, supplies, and platform fees. My baseline for beginners, super easy, take this. Your projected gross monthly revenue should be at least 2.5 times what your rent is. So we'll take our first unit as an example. We made $1,375, that was the rent payment, and we needed to do basically 2.5 times that, and that gave us the goal of $3,400 and roughly $38. So that's the monthly average that we were hoping to make on the units. Cushion, if we look at our last 5 months of gross revenue, you can see that on average, we're hitting the number that we want, and sometimes we go much higher, 5K. But the goal is, over the course of the year, you want the average monthly revenue to be that 2.5 or higher, obviously. This 2.5 rule here, it allows us to cover our expenses, it accounts for seasonality, it leaves room for profit so you're not working for nothing, and it allows you to scale. You take your first win and you reinvest into that unit. And then we got that, and it was a little bit more expensive rent here. That's okay. We took that and we reinvested. And as you noticed, we started doing upgrades, and we stayed with similar unit types because we were doing it and we felt comfortable there, and we reinvested. And we took these simple, tiny studios, because it was our budget at the time, and we made them pop with cool themes, colors, designs, stuff like that. The idea is every time you're doing it, you're looking at the rent to revenue ratio, you're making sure you're 2.5 times the rent on your projected revenue at least. And then you reinvest into, better units or whatever the case may be. The goal is to make a profitable investment, not just an expense. How do you do that? I'll break it down super simple. You get that first lease, you get that apartment, you work your butt off, and you get Superhost. Ta-da! And then you take that, what we did personally, and there's other strategies, but this is what we did. We just got a bunch of similar units, knowing that we could do that, and we repeated that process a handful of times. And what that did was it forced us to develop systems and become a business. And we took those systems and the SOPs of everything we learned from all these units that we had, and we took them and we applied them to scale. We got bigger units. I'm talking units with, what do you mean? Maybe some stuff with hot tubs, crazy. Or what's that? That's like a water view. Wowee, look at that. I'm looking at the water. Yeah, properties that are just nicer properties. Or we got deals with apartment complexes where we have multiple leases. Or even crazy, no expense to scale here, getting co-host deals where you're managing for other people. All of those are possible when you start with that first unit, do good, get a little more, develop systems, and then you can choose whatever path you want to go, making the rent an investment, not an expense. And we've done this, across dozens of units. But if you want me to break down exactly how we do rent analysis and how we found properties like this, DM me the word rent, and I'll show you exactly how we personally analyze rent for properties inside our community with other people looking at real properties, real numbers from us and all the other people that have joined our community.